Hello, everybody. My name is Franklin with First 1,000 Hours, and hopefully you can hear me and all of that. I am using Streamlabs OBS like I have in the past. But anyway, I want to talk to you today about two different types of mindsets of language learners, plus chat with you about language learning. You can feel free to leave your comments or leave your questions to me, and I'll seek to be interactive. This is just kind of like a freestyle live stream, and I like doing these from time to time as well. So I want to start off by talking about the two different types of language learners. And I was sharing with people that are beginners in Spanish different pictures. And I had a question for them, and that was, what is this picture saying in Spanish? And these are people that were not necessarily trying to learn Spanish, and they have basically a basic knowledge of Spanish. And so I want to share those pictures with you, and maybe you can share with me what's being said in these pictures. All right, so this is the first one. Okay, so it was interesting what people would do. And you might want to pause the video. If you're looking at this on the replay, pause the video right now and try to figure out that picture without Google Translate or without anything, and look and see what does that picture say. So, so what would happen is people would typically get that the top part where it says devocional was devotional, because that's very similar in English, so they got that. And I would also then ask them, as they were, after they looked around at the image for a time, I would ask them, okay, well, what does the middle part say? And that's where it got a little bit more, I think, challenging for people. And so some people would get part of it, but then they might have not known the whole context, or the whole I should say, I just use the word context. That's the second type of language learner. But they would maybe get some words, but they might not have gotten enough to really understand the total meaning of what was said, or the general meaning of what was being written. And so that's what I want to talk to you about. There are two ways, I believe, to approach language learning, and those ways express two different types of mindset. One is, I have to know every single word before I know what is being written in this case, or what is being said. Or the other mindset is, I need to understand the context to be able to understand what is being said. And I'm going to come in here with not a I don't know mindset, but how can I mindset. And I think the how can I mindset is based on Philippians 4 verse 13 that says, I can do all things through Christ who strengtheneth me. So with the how can I mindset, it's not to really come in thinking about everything I don't know. Is to look at, I want to maximize my language learning experience by thinking about every single thing I do know. I want to focus on what I can do. So what can I do? I can, if I look at this picture with the how can I mindset, what I can do from day one is try to find any single word that I do know, because there might be words that I may not know as a beginner, right? So one of the common words, I would say that many people, I would say many, but beginners of Spanish, especially if they are in English, I'm sorry, if that didn't make sense, if they're in the United States, know is cinco. Okay, because you have uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. So even if you know that word, then that is helping you to know that this has something to do with numbers, because cinco means five. All right, and then another thing that is important, and this is what I would do when people got a little stuck looking at this picture or this image. I would say, okay, if there is no words, if there's no words on this picture, what would this picture be about? What would you think about this? And then people start looking at the picture, because this is the thing. If you have the how can I mindset, then what will happen is you can be able to say, how can I understand this more than maybe I understand right now? But from the words, how can I increase my comprehension of what is being written than from the comprehension I have right now? So what can you do to maximize that? I can use a picture to help me understand the context of the words. And that's something people can do from day one. And that's what is really exciting about talking about this mindset. And so if you look at the picture, then you can see, okay, well, this is a picture of Jesus and other people. And then if you look at it pretty detailed, you can see that it has something to do with bread, it has something to do with food, and then you have that number 5. So you have this picture about bread, this picture about Jesus with food, and you have the number 5. And so some people that understand the context of Bible stories, remember they're bringing into language learning the knowledge of a story, a Bible story, then they can understand that this is talking about the feeding of 5,000. Even if they just knew one word, and even if they didn't know any words, they could get the context from using something they already had, which was a knowledge of a picture. And then especially if they have the knowledge of the Bible story as well. So I want to go into another picture, and we'll see this how can I mindset as well. And so again, when I was asking different people about this, they could get devotional, but then I would ask them again, okay, well, what about the middle of the picture? Can you tell me anything about the middle of this picture, and what are the words? What are those words saying? Now, one word that's kind of easy is Jesus or Jesus. That would be one of those words. But then the other words can be a little bit difficult potentially for someone that is trying to say, okay, well, what do these words, all these words mean? Because that some of these words are not like you could say beginner words. But I believe that you can come into language learning, even if you're a beginner, you can come in with like an expert mindset. And I believe one of the expert mindset is again, how can I understand more than I do right now? How do you do that? Got to focus not only on the words, but focus on the overall context of those words. How do I do that? I look at the pictures and I claim the promise of Philippians 4 and verse 13 that says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. So you look at that picture and you just imagine the picture without words. And then especially if you know one word. I mean, if you know Jesus or Jesus, and you look at this picture, you see it's a picture of this of these sandals or these feet on water, a picture of someone walking on water, Jesus walking on water. You get the context of what the words are saying. And I remember talking to someone and going through this, and then there was someone else that was by that person, a child, and that person said, "Yeah, this is Jesus walking on water." So that's not the exact literal translation of this, but it's very close to those words. And so they're getting, that person got the context, and I was like, yes, you're on the right track, and I was really happy about that. So I want to show you another picture, and this one is another one. So let's say that if you're trying to understand the middle again, you might understand one of those words, Jesus. Let's say you don't know anything else really, or you don't know hardly anything else. You look at the picture, you see Jesus, you see this 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 storm, and Jesus is in this boat, and then if you look at another word after looking at the picture, not really focusing on the words, then you see a word that looks very similar to the word calm. It just has an A after the English word calm, and then it's easier to think, okay, well, this is about Jesus calming the storm, and that's what the words are talking about in Spanish. But you're not just, again, you're not just focusing on the words, and I think that sometimes we get so bogged down with words, and I would say especially as beginners, that you forget the overall context, or can forget the overall context, and then think that if I don't understand 100% of what is being written, I don't know anything. And so it's so easy to say I don't know. It's more difficult to say how can I know more, but you learn more. You get further in your language learning goals with what I call the how can I mindset. Let's look at another picture. And this one is, again, you have that word Jesus. Let's say that's all you knew initially. Jesus. Well, honestly, paralytico is very close to paralytic. So you have Jesus, you have paralytic, and then you see this person that is lying down. It's looking like there's like this rope, and you can kind of think about the Bible story with the paralytic and the rope and all that. If you remember those Bible stories, that can help in knowing what those words are about, and that's actually powerful. And so the cool thing about all these pictures is all of the pictures had a similar theme, and they had a theme that was talking about the miracles of Jesus. And so when you are not only being able to look at individual pictures, but then you have a wider context from from a certain theme, from the in this case this biblical thing, it gives you an understanding of framework. So you could think, okay, well, if I show another picture that is similar to these pictures, you already can already think, okay, it might be a picture of the miracles of Jesus, right? You can just kind of anticipate that based on the four pictures I had already shown. And then when you have that mindset and that context, then you're already getting kind of prepared for what the words might mean. And so I think that's really cool. So I like to have people think about you know the overall context. And so my friend and I I've been talking about this for a while, but my friend and I are in the process of having a mini course, a Spanish comprehension mini course come out, and it'll have this value proposition. Give us one day, and we'll give you the confidence, the mindset, and the skill set to start comprehending Spanish. And so I'm really happy about being able to offer that value. And we're going to do things like this. We're going to be able, I mean, actually, it's more than that. I mean, it's not just pictures. We use pictures, but we do more than what you just saw there. But the principle though is being able to show people, not just show, but put people in a mainly Spanish context, a mainly Spanish context, sometimes all Spanish context, and allow them to be able to have things to help them to understand what at least the context of what is being said, and put them in like this story, this true story, put them into seeing this, I mean, or learning about a true story. And the story, putting words in a story helps people get the context of what is, what the story is about, that help the people to be able to anticipate the words, kind of, or to anticipate the meaning of the words. And then at the same time, there's things we'll do to make it comprehensible. Anyway, I'm really excited about that coming out, and we're gonna really dominate the day one experience for comprehension for people that are coming from the first day in Spanish. And I really believe that they can take that. We'll be able to take that mini course and then go into an all Spanish environment. And I wanted to share with y'all some update. Actually, before we go into that, let me share this with you here. This is very important. It says this. This is what I was reading today. It says, the words are more than an indication of character. They have power to react upon the character. Men are influenced by their own words. And this is coming from The Voice and Speech and Song. Really like that book. And it's important in many different ways. It's important in a language learning context. It's important in a life context. We can come and say, I don't know what is being said. It's so easy to say something like that. But other people will come in there and say, how can I understand more? And so one method is you just say, and start just really looking at your disadvantages and looking at your limitations and focusing on that, while other people are going to focus on everything they can do. Other people are going to focus on every opportunity they have. And those people, the second category, the people that have the how can I mindset, those people are going to be the ones that are going to get further. And even in how, so it's important not only to think like that, but also how we speak about our experience. And then also how we share that with with others as well. And so we can come into language learning day one having, even though we're a beginner, having an expert mindset, and then trusting that the Lord can help us. Like it says in Philippians 4 and verse 13, I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me. I want to share some other things with you, and you can feel free to ask me any questions. If you have any questions for me, I'm on this live stream. So one thing I like about live streams is I can interact with you in real time. You don't have to wait for me to maybe respond to your comment or something like that. I'm here, and so I have the opportunity and availability to do that at this moment in time. I just wanted to talk to you. Also, I have still been doing Spanish Zoom meetings, and honestly, I'm really thankful for that. I've been pretty busy in other aspects in my life, and so I haven't done as much in Spain. I haven't hardly done anything, in my opinion, in Spanish. I mean, this year I've done some things, but one thing I'm thankful for is I've incorporated at least some part of Spanish in my lifestyle. So what I'd like to do is to go on Zoom meetings, and to go to these Spanish worship sessions in Costa Rica from people in Costa Rica on Saturday mornings. And I like the meetings. I mean, I like what they do, and so I want to be there not only because it's in Spanish, but I like it out even outside of it being in Spanish. And so I have been a part of that since I think it started, which I believe was like in January of 2021. I've missed just a little bit of meetings, and so that's part of my routine. And so even though my life has gotten busy in other aspects, I still am able to do that. And so it's an all Spanish, and I mean, it basically is all Spanish environment. I mean, I think the last meeting I was in, I heard one English word, which was hello. Maybe there was one other English word that I don't remember, but it was basically hello. And so I'm thankful for that. So I want to encourage you to make Spanish part of your life, because then you can use it. And so I still find Spanish useful for that. And then I also want to say this as well. I'm thankful to be able to use Spanish at work. So I have been able to do that, and I was at work, and I was able to talk to someone whose preference is Spanish. And again, if you're here on a live stream, don't feel free to ask me any question about language learning. That's fine. I'm here, and so I was able to set up an appointment. I was able to have some conversation with this person, about what would be the best time for the person, etc. And all of that. And then as I was speaking in Spanish, there were some other people that came um, inside my work as well, and then at least at least one of them speaks Spanish, and the father spoke Spanish, and then I was able to talk with that person in Spanish, and I talked to some of the family in English as well. But that was a good experience, and I am so thankful to be able to use Spanish at work. And I would say that um, I have tried in the past to focus on little opportunities. It might not be mean that I talk in Spanish the whole time with someone in the past or whatever, but I would try to take advantage of whatever opportunity I could to speak with someone in Spanish. And I look at opportunities to speak in Spanish like a seed. I look at the talent of Spanish like a seed, and I can look at that. And some people look at a seed and they'll say, "Well, it's just a little seed. All I'm going to do is throw it in the trash because it's so small." Well, other people can say, "Man, if I get that seed, if I water the seed, if I put the seed in the ground, if I put some compost in the soil, if I make sure that I take the weeds away from the plant, if I make sure that I put it in an area that has sunshine, maybe if I put some complementary plants around it that's going to help ward off insects, if I do whatever I can and I trust the Lord to help with the rest, then I'm going to see that little seed, that little talent grow into an unshakable, unmovable tree." So, some people stop with opportunities because they seem so small, while other people see that those opportunities over time get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so that is something that I like. It's like, man, I got to take advantage. If I can speak to someone in Spanish that's with me at my job, then maybe I probably need to at least try. And so that's what I was able to do. And especially with the person that had that preference of speaking in Spanish, I mean, I got to talk to that person all in Spanish. And so I'm thankful for that opportunity. All right, and so I also want to tell you that unfortunately I haven't been doing uh, I haven't really hardly done any reading in Spanish this year. I have not even shared with y'all my language learning goals. I don't really have any stated language learning goal this year, but I'm still maintaining at least some of my Spanish by taking advantage of opportunities when I can speak to people, at work, which is limited, very limited, but also especially doing the Spanish Zoom meetings, going there. I mean, I've been able to speak to some Spanish speaking people at my church as well. That has been I'm thankful for that, and had some other opportunities as well. But I want to also share this with you, which I thought was kind of cool. I was able to find my book. I didn't know where this was. This was my first Spanish book that I read, El Camino a Cristo. And if you can see here, every single page I had things in which I had to try to figure out how to read in this book. And I had taken a Duolingo Spanish course and completed that, um, I believe, in April of 2017. Um, I believe I finished this book. I think I have said in a previous stream I finished this book in April 2017, but I think that was Duolingo. I believe it was in April of 2018 I finished this book, um, and it was a struggle. It was hard, but I was like, man, I got to. My mind can accustom itself to whatever I allow it to dwell upon, and I was like, why don't I put myself in native level Philippians 4 verse 8 for Philippians 4 verse 8 native level Spanish, and that's what I did. And I'm so glad I did because that this book became like the key for me to comprehend a lot more Spanish, and I've gone on to read over 4,000 pages in Spanish. I don't know what my actual count is now, but I know it's over 4,000 pages. And this is I really want to keep this because it's like my sweat and blood right here. But it's also something I believe can be an inspirational story for others who want to learn because it was not easy to read this. And one thing I should say about these pictures that I was talking about when we were talking about the two different mindsets is if you can read just one sentence. I mean, the powerful thing about getting one sentence in Spanish is that one sentence can be if you can read one sentence, you can read another sentence. If you can read another sentence, you can read a paragraph. If you can read a paragraph, you can read a page. And if you can read one page a day, 5 days a week, you can read a 100-page book in around 5 to 5.5 months. And so that's like, whoa, I can read a book just from that principle of reading a sentence. And then it's like, the sky's the limit on comprehension. And then if you can really comprehend things, then comprehension prepares you to speak, in my opinion. If we look at how we learned our first language, we did a lot of comprehension. We did a lot of, noticing things and all of those type of things. And so, but then we were able to start speaking. So my philosophy is that words need to be in you in order to come out of you. And so when you're seeking to comprehend things, that is preparing you for speech. That kind of brings me to something else I wanted to say. I already kind of said that, but my friend and I have been working on a Spanish comprehension mini course. And with this value proposition, give us one day and we'll give you the confidence, the mindset, and the skill set to start comprehending Spanish. And I'm really excited when that course will come out. Because it's just going to be different. I mean, we're going to put people from day one in a mostly all Spanish environment, and then help them comprehend Spanish in Spanish. And then also it's to the point where even our questions are in Spanish, but they're done in a way where we're able to use things people already know to help them know something that they don't know. Like we're going to use familiar things to help people understand something unfamiliar. Like, for instance, people know pictures. People know gestures. People know expressions of the voice, expressions of the face, and things like that that we can do. And so I will not be speaking in Spanish. I'll have my friend. I mean, my friend's already done that. I mean, it's just basically she's just basically waiting on me to get things finished. But she has already spoken, and we've used true stories telling to be able to help people to understand words, Spanish words in context. So you're able to understand the context of a story to help you understand the context of words, so you can understand the overall context, of what is being said, and then you'll get the confidence as you do that. You're like, oh wow, I'm really understanding Spanish from day one, and then it's like, well, I'm using this mindset of focus on what I can do and all these things that will be mentioned in the course, and you're getting that type of skill set that helps you not only complete and get the transformation from the course, but it helps you to be able to go into all Spanish environments outside of the course. And so I will be sharing motivational talks in English, and so I'm really happy about that. It's gonna be something that people can do in a day, but at the same time, I believe there's going to be a lot of uh, people that are going to be benefited by that. There's a whole backstory that I can talk about at another time with my friend and etc. Talking about things about like how do we how the course creation story, the ability to think about like what who are we to think that we can actually do this, and have something that could be of value when there's the Duolingos of the world, Duolingo, Rosetta Stone, all this other stuff's out there. What is our unique value outside of those type of things, and then also thinking about, more talking about how do we know that this actually does give transformational value by taking the course. How can we be confident of that? And we had other things that we had to go through, and all that. But I think, the cool thing about the focusing on what you can do and how can I mindset and etc. is some of those principles are also life principles that we're able to utilize and actually being able to have this course. And I remember reading somewhere, or no, listening to someone say, you don't have to be an expert, you just have to be one step ahead to be able to give actual value for people. And my friend, who is a native Spanish speaker, is definitely more than one step ahead. And then myself, after reading over 4,000 pages in Spanish and listening to countless hours of Spanish, and watching countless hours of Spanish. I don't know how much it is, but I know it's more than an hour. It's a lot. So I put myself in an all Spanish environment many times, and so I have something to contribute. And so we're gonna dominate the 1 day experience for beginners and give them actual practical value that will help them get the confidence, the mindset, and the skill set to start comprehending Spanish from day one, not day 100, from day one, not day two. And we're really excited for that coming out. So, anyway, I just wanted to kind of do a live stream over here. I know I haven't done one in a while. This might be taken down because this is very impromptu, but I did want to give an update. And if you have any comments or whatever, feel free to leave them in the comments section below this video. I will say hasta la próxima.